What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about part 3 of how to make library music, so stick around. It's going to be legendary. It's not my line. Okay, so I've got a bass line I imported from a different file. It's not even right for this, but it's just the 1, 2, very standard beat. So what I'm going to do is I started off creating it's very similar to one of my hi-hat parts earlier. But I'm going to modify it because I don't think it's very interesting. So we're just going to start modifying it and playing around with it and seeing what we can come up with. I like bass lines that move, that actually have some dynamics to it. I think they're way more interesting. So trying to figure out where to place bass notes that really do justice to the beat itself. This beat has a lot of kick in it already, so it's all about syncopating those bass notes with the kick in different parts. And there's no right way to do this. This is all about just using your experience and what sounds good and coming up with something. So this is kind of what I've come up with here. So I just keep going back and just splitting things up a little bit. Playing it over and over again, finding the notes that aren't working. And sometimes I think that doubling up notes helps, then other times I think, man, that sounds cheesy. So anyway, let's skip ahead and look at where our final sounds pretty good to me. Let's move on. So I'm going to adjust the kick a little bit. It was a little too low, and I think it resonates just a little too much on the big kick. So we also make sure it's down. It's on C. Okay, I'm liking that better. It sounds a lot better to me. Again, I have 2 kicks on this. We want the big one for the 4 on the floor, and then a smaller one. So here's, I dropped a sub bass, a sub drop, and I have a whole video on how to do that. And you'll see it right up there in the corner. And I want to see where that would go, and I'm probably going to need to tune it. Got another little swell I like going on, so I'm going to I'm figuring out where to put those in the mix. Ooh, I like that ending. That's nice. I don't think I like it in the front, though. I think we're going to take that out. So here, what I'm trying to do is figure out another part. On that last 4 bars of the song, I want something else happening. I want some more movement there, so it doesn't get too monotonous. So I'm liking that sound there, that kind of saw wave with a lot of portamento on it. So I'm just going to record something here, just throw something in here. Alright, so there's just something. I like that octave, that dun-dun. And we're going to adjust that a little bit, quantize it. I'm doing almost everything in this song very quantized. It's kind of mechanical, but hey, this is for a sound library. I'm not terribly worried about generating emotion here. There's just sort of background, but it should be good. We're not trying to make crap at all. So this is just going to be a matter of playing around, and I won't bore you with some of the details on that. So now this part, I've copied this over, kind of like what I did earlier, and what I'm going to do is actually, I'm trying to find something. I have these little offbeats, and I'm thinking about using those for a different sound. Right there in the light purple, those offbeats there, it might be cool to have a different sound. So again, going back into Massive, exploring new sounds, seeing what I can come up with. I want something a little bit more on the bell side, like a blip kind of thing. That's too much, it's distracting. In fact, it's probably too much sound. I don't want it to sound Rastafarian. All I'm doing is I'm just creating a palette of sounds so that nothing sounds too mechanical and amateurish. You want sound. You want. I think a lot of the biggest drawback people make when they're producing is they don't have enough stuff going on. It's just boring, or they have something that's just too repetitive. And it may sound too repetitive right now because we're playing this a million times, but believe me, it won't be. This is only going to be 30 seconds long, and we're not going to let it get too boring. We're going to try some things. So what I'm trying to do is find other notes, and it's just an experiment, as you can see here. So I finally ended up with this. So it just adds a couple little cool notes. All that work just to add a couple notes, but it adds something. It almost sounds like it's part of the bass line. Now I want to do something different with this main lead spot. I want it to actually, I don't want the delay, the throw delay, to be right on the track. So I'm going to throw it onto an auxiliary track down here below. And we're going to pipe a bunch of the sound over to that delay. And I put replica on here, but I'm actually going to turn replica off. We're just going to use the filter delay because I like the filter options they have in Ableton. And I'm going to turn on this compressor to do a sidechain against the actual track. And what's going on now is that I have a whole video about this. But as the lead is playing, the throw delay gets tucked under until it's done, and then it comes up in volume. So things just don't get too muddy. So just finding that sweet spot is now the challenge. But I think that already sounds a lot better, because now it's not as muddy. So you really hear the delay after the piece is done playing. See, it builds up there. Pretty sweet. Now what I want to do is I want to actually I want a riser at the beginning here to crescendo into the main groove. So as the 4 hits are playing, I want to have a riser to actually complement that energy. So what I'm going to do is I go into Omnisphere and open up a session of Omnisphere and just put a note on C3. Sounds horrible, but I want it to go for 2 bars. We're going to open up Omnisphere, and I'm going to just search for riser, but I already know, I think I'm going to go into the Ascensions pack. There we go. This is the Ascensions pack. My buddy Michael Babbitt over at Ilio made this, and I really dig a lot of his risers. And anyway, you can find that at ilio.com. So now it's all about finding a riser I like, and I like that one, Liquid Platinum. So let's automate that a little bit, and because as soon as the groove comes in, I want to kill that so that it has a little bit more sudden feel there. Okay, that sounds pretty good. And we should probably add the riser to the very end as well. All right, I don't like a lot of the beginning of that, so we're going to automate the volume on that just so we can control it. Just like that, and we'll leave the squeak in at the end. Yeah, that adds quite a bit of energy just doing that. I'm liking that a lot. Nice. That's it for this week, guys. Come back next week and we'll have the final part for you. Stick around for it. It's going to be great. I'll send out a reminder. Subscribe and you'll get an email. That's how it works. That's how YouTube works. It's pretty legendary. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Let me know if you have any comments. Keep writing and stay frosty. We'll see you next week. Part 4 next week.